All right, we got something there. Good. Okay, thank you, Father. I don't know, maybe we can, I need that to shine that way, right? It's in the right direction, so. All right. This is a stream by it. The numbers don't lie. So this is going to be elementary. You're not going to need a calculator. Thank you, Father. You stood in. You sent your father, your son, the Lamb of God, Shiloh, and he paid the price for standing against the law. So he paid in the flesh. They imprisoned him. Irregardless, this isn't about me, Father. This is not about Elijah Werner. This isn't about Tracy Werner. This is about doing what our Father tells us and to walk and follow in his commandments. And so we must stand against the law. We must conform to his image. So irregardless, the numbers don't lie. And we're going to look at the numbers. So this is going to show that Elijah's already done this. And I don't know how many hours. So this will involve both of us and us, so that you can see the numbers to show that it's just about that I know that I am standing against. Let's see the numbers. Okay, thank you. So the numbers won't lie. There we go. So, the story does start with Tony Karsten, where Elijah is given. It starts with. Let's throw this number out there, because it does. Let's use the numbers. Maybe we can kind of start here. That there's five men. 5. We'll keep that number. Can you see that number? Obama up there. Is that clear enough? I'm trying to. I think this one might be the one. This is an evidentiary stream. Thank you for coming in again, and let me see, get this a little bit bigger. Maybe if I can. No bad. Maybe we could get that down a little bit further. We can get it all in there, get a little bit bigger there. So, okay, how's that? Check the mic, 1, 2. Hit it. All right, numbers. Sorry, guys, don't worry. You're not going to need a calculator. Don't run away. This is simple math, almost elementary. Okay, good. Thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate you joining me here. I'm trying to do the best I can. It's go big or go home time. So numbers don't lie. So there's 5 men, and they're all involved in a property crime. One of these men was convicted for 25 years of rape, and one of them was my son, and he has a prior conviction, and you can look into his prior. If you can look at what he did, we don't want to run from the evidence that my son does have a prior conviction where a gentleman and myself, we met up in the desert. It's all out there. I've been expunged the charges of those things. My son, it was bigger, so I'm not running from it. I never have, but I want to keep in mind, I don't want to just, not like I'm, being biased, because what I was trying to get back here, there were, this one man is 41 years old, I believe. And again, he was convicted of 25 years of a rape crime, and he did 13 years. And so he had 12 years remaining where he was released into this. Let's put Lake County over here, because this is the county. There's 2 counties that are in question where this police corruption and targeting involves Lake and Lane. So we don't spell those incorrectly. So if you decide to get involved in this, we don't know if Sarah is a real person at this point. We'll check in with Sarah. But Lake and Lane are the 2 counties okay, that are involved. Okay, this is the county that I am in right now. Currently, my son was in this county, moved to this county. Okay, he was here. He started here originally. This is where his initial offense was for the property crime. Okay, the property crime. But then he was at the time was 19. This man was 30. This man was 41 and a convicted rapist who did 13 years for raping a married Hispanic woman and robbing her while high on methamphetamines. So I just want to make sure you understand who this man here is. His name is Tony Karsten. And this is all a evidentiary stream where they're not going to run from this anymore because I've tried everything, but the numbers don't lie. So we're going to do the numbers, and we're going to make sure this all gets cleared up by the numbers. So if they don't want to look at this, I'm going to make sure it's time to do the numbers with you. Okay, you don't want to pay attention. So there's 3 other men involved. This one here is questioned. I don't believe they ever found this man with the little shoe. But anyways, we won't. Anyway, so this man was 19, and I think this man was either 20, and so I'm still calling them. They were pretty much children, all teenagers under the age of to be able to drink. So it's this job's man to come in to run through probation. Now, remember, Lily Frank. Lily Frank is her name. This was Elijah's probation officer when they didn't convict this man. This man here, the convicted rapist, admitted to the charge, so he should have already been convicted and went back to prison. His parole should have been revoked, and he didn't. But my son, again, with the prior he went to jail. So we've got one man sitting behind bars, and that would be my son sitting here in jail. This man who did admit to the crime never spent a day in jail, and neither did this man. So my problem that I was having with the county is I'm like, why is there this unequal justice? And I had a problem because one was a rapist. And this is where I caught on to this rat and how this probation, and this is done, and I believe in almost all the poorest counties throughout the United States. So I've uncovered something again where Tracy, shut up. No, I can't. This is for the people. This ain't about me so 5 men all do the same crime. He spends 11 months or 10, I think almost 11 months, almost a year in jail. The rapist never goes to jail. So I'm clean, like, what the hell's going on here? This guy's a convicted rapist. So we got on to him even before that something was wrong with him because he was lying about his story about raping this woman, going around in this county and telling people that he had a relationship with her or all these different, his stories weren't matching. So I was already on to him. And this is where Lily Frank really gets involved in this because she's involved in this with Tom Rourke. And remember, we also have Zach, okay, who I've spoken with too about Elijah's probation, been in there and talked to that man. And they actually, when these men, look how much of a failure this Lake County probation is. This rapist and he who spent time in jail after Elijah had, was that during the time that he was out? I think that was after they got out. Yes, it was, that he was supposed to do his community service. That these numbskulls in here booked Zach, this moron here, booked the rapist and Elijah, where they had a no contact order in the same building at the same day at the same time. You talk about lack of moronic behavior. See, I was there. See, these people forgetting that. I keep forgetting. Hey, me here. The guy's been screaming about the numbers about unequal justice. And the guy who did 13 years for rape and then was released into this county, who now Lily's running him. And why are these people going to jail and my son is not? This is criminal. And I already showed you where there's evidence in his witness statement that he admits to criminal behavior, which means his parole is revoked and he goes back to Texas. So he wouldn't shut up about Tony Karsten. So that's Tony Karsten. That's this. I'm not going to write his name down, okay? You can take it down and make notes. This is an evidentiary stream. So from the beginning, I've always had this issue with why this rapist wasn't put in jail. And so it really took guys, if you look back through the records, that I said, well, I figure what it's all about. It's all about the big almighty dollar, because you have a contract on him, and if he goes back to jail, you lose your funding on him. So this is something that I've uncovered that they don't want people to know, but I did have other people who streamed again on here that have uncovered this is happening in the poorest counties in the United States of America. So either way, brothers and sisters, you got to keep pushing through here. So I have an issue here, okay, that I don't know why my son did 11 months. But they were all teenagers, so I do consider this rapist a pedophile. I mean, they're not. I mean, they aren't children. I guess they're adults, but I don't know. They were teenagers, and they got lured in. So Lily would never talk to me about this. So this starts this problem, or all this problem starts with these numbers. Okay, so after this crime, Elijah does a year, almost a year. He gets out after 3. I think we had 3 attorneys. Finally, John Caligo. First contact with John Caligo. Let's write that number down. They say they're watching these guys. Hopefully this will make them stand down. What they've done is criminal, and now I'm going to show you by number that they're criminals out here. But John Caligo, remember, contact number 1 with John. So this is a recorded phone call, and this is evidence, because numbers are not only don't lie, but they're evidenced against you, Lake County. Numbers are evidenced against you, Lake County. Please stand down. Please. I'd like to give my son his life. He should have got, we'll get at that 18-month mark, but we're not there. Hold on. This is an evidentiary stream by number. Oh, I'm writing so horrible right now. Oh. I'm a little stressed. Normally my handwriting is much better there. And I'm, so anyways, you see my work up here. And I apologize. So anyways, that was a little out of control there. So Zach, I've talked with Zach, and Tom knows, and Lily knows, and all these people know that I was involved. Because if you start adding my involvement, you'll start knowing that they're really upset at me. It's not so much that Elijah, he's being targeted, and so now am I, for exposing this rapo, Tony Karsten, and why he gets to run roughshod out here and bring people into their criminal system and get plea bargains. And because this guy, I don't believe, again, I've never saw DNA. I even told him, hey, if he's involved, I know this because he's my son's wife doesn't like him at the time, girlfriend at the time, was high school sweethearts. My daughter, he has one now. They're both been with them a long time. He's had a couple relationships in a long time, They all smoke cigarettes like a hippie or something. They pass it around like a joint. It'll have his DNA on it. If you find it, convict him. He's guilty. I want equal justice. So you just threw your son under the bus? No, I didn't want any unequal justice. It's never been about me since the beginning. Some might say it is about me. Well, that's right. Whatever. I don't listen to the world. People who are young and don't have because they falter. I've been there, guys. We all do it. We get a little, especially when we put under fiery trial. So let him beat us, Hallelujah. It's all about the word. The Father's going to he knows these numbers too. The numbers don't lie, and the Father. So this is simple math. 5 men convicted of a property crime. 1 goes to jail. The rapist does it. Dad starts griping to Lily Frank about why. And then, wait, I'm on to you. This guy's a liar, and you're running a ring. And this is actually extortion, because why did you do this to my son? So they wouldn't let him out. They actually threw him under and railroaded him like they normally, which took me finally to get John Caligo involved. I won't do you what it costs, guys, but there's a big cost with John. And there is now, and I already talked to him, and nothing's for free. And I reminded him, John, thank you, nothing's for free. I don't want anything for free, John. Okay, this is the attorney that's already involved now, Lake County. He called down to the Sherman Center, and that's not a threat. He's involved. By number, this was the first time that John was involved when, again, John was the attorney for this particular rapo case. You're really messing up Lake County by the number. You're really falling apart. Your numbers are going to prove that you're guilty, and there's others out here because I have other numbers that don't even involve this case. We might break this into one case, do the other case, do another case, I've got so much evidence against these people by the number if their cases are falling apart, which will prove that bonds, hopefully by the number, will take this out. So no, he already did. No, hold on. We ain't got to the community service there. Slow down, Obama. And I don't like Obama, but I think that's just you're being facetious or something. So either way, you're a witness. So I don't like none of these pretendants. So Barry. Barack Obama means I saw lightning fall from heaven to earth. And his name wasn't Barack Obama. His name was Barry. So I'm sure Obama knows that. So it's just, anyways, it's pretty, because most people don't. They don't speak any Hebrew, so they wouldn't know that. But anyways, hallelujah. So people love the fro word. That would be the Hebrew word for twist or to pervert. So anyways, speaking of perverts, this rapo right here who gets all these teenagers involved gets looped by the system where they take plea agreements. Tom's involved, Zach's involved, John's involved now to get Elijah out of jail. So Elijah's out. I don't care if he did or didn't do it. He did his time back here. By doing this time, he did 11 months almost in jail. So I think already from Elijah's point, by number, Elijah's already done more time than anybody. Elijah's already done more time. He served time in almost 11 months. I think it was 10 and a half by exact, but almost a year in the county jail for this property crime. No victim, like actually nobody was hurt or that wasn't involved a person. It wasn't a person-on-person crime. But this rapo here who was released on a 12-year contract, they get paid for him to stay in the county. See, this exposes this rat ring with this pedo rat. Well, again, I don't know. They're all teenagers. This is pretty young to be messing with these young men, I guess. So either way, everybody in agreement? Everybody that's watched this evidentiary stream later, state of Oregon, Lake County, Oregon, judge, are you satisfied that in this case Elijah has done time? And what happened to the rapo? Why wasn't he convicted? If he actually, remember, because you can go back and see he had admitted to the crime. So what's your thoughts there? Okay. Failure by the county of Lake County should be put under federal investigation. Why this county would let this rapo run? It eventually took me kind of with the verbal, hey, I'm going to get rid of this rapo for the county, guys. I have to do this if it's just about numbers. Well, bang, I'll get rid of the rapo and then you'll lose your contract anyways. Okay, we'll listen to you, Tracy. Yeah, that's what it took to get and John Kliego. If you don't believe him, I called him. There'll be evidentiary stream. I guess if you want to convict me of going after the rapo, which I didn't because something John I said, you got a limited time here, John. They're going to throw my son in frickin' prison. And I know they really didn't produce that DNA or actual fingerprints of him or eyewitness. This is railroading, John. I'm getting him out of the county for the rapo's got to go. And I know it's about the money, John. It's this. So John's very aware. And from the beginning, back here, remember Lake County? John, he was aware of this back then of the rapo, Tony Karsten. You have a problem. So, okay. So with a little bit of verbal persuasion by dad saying, okay, I'll throw myself under the bus for the county, for the whole county, for the safety, because this rapo's been running around lying to people about what he's been doing. And it's not about my son. It's about this rapist right here that's running for the county. They do this rat ring all over the nation, guys. Call it the rat ring hashtag. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. It's Lily Frank who knows this. I've talked to her. She's pissed at me, guys, and has been from the beginning because I caught on to this. So Elijah's done his time, 11 months, 10 and a half, I think, to be exact. The rapo does no time. The other 3 walk free. I believe they took some kind of plea agreement. Bam, the system's happy. He gets his money. People are put on probation. Blah, 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 blah. My son. Okay, so boom. You see why I'm pissed already? Had to throw myself in the bus here. Said, I don't care. If you want it to be about money, I'll make sure that you don't get any money. When he's gone, what are you going to do? Come get me. Bulan Labe. phone calls to John Caligo. Woo! Summons them, put them in federal court. They'll be there. I don't have to run from judgments. I only worry about my Father who art in heaven. Fear no man that can take your flesh. Only fear who can take your soul, brother, sister. So I'm not worried. This is all of God. This isn't me. None of this is me. If you think so, go back and watch my hundreds, thousands of hours of streaming. And as I minister the gospel of Christ Jesus and the resurrection and the birth of being lifted and the inheritance, not worrying about this flesh, because it ain't about it. It's about being lifted when you come back to this dirt, not somewhere in the sky. So anyways, hallelujah. I'll take time for the word, but back to the evidence. Well, you have to look at it. That's part of this too. Yes, it is part of the evidentiary stream, the sanctuary, and why we're here in this high desert having day 15. And nobody will help, because it's all the Father. I'm not concerned. It's all after his counsel and his timing. So 10.5 months, 1 man out of 5. I already see some issues with this county. If you don't, again, why the rapo didn't go to jail should be federally indicted. Somebody on this. Why did they let the rapo run free? Took the dad to get him out of this. Call John Caligo, look through the files. So don't forget Lake County. John Caligo. 484-1066. Okay, so anyways, Elijah gets 180 hours of community service and 3 years of probation. Now, I don't want to talk about their other numbers because it doesn't matter. I do want to focus at this point. You can look up the other numbers because at this point, the numbers is the tale of Elijah, not tale of numbers. This ain't no lies, fairy tales, distributor of lies, demon, genie, distribute fortunes, right? 3 wishes. Come on, guys. So anyways, 3 years, boy, well, the numbers don't lie. So anyways, 180 hours, okay? And so I start making waves at the beginning. Now, Elijah is put on what is called supervised because he was actually convicted of a felony, multiple felonies, where they were supervising all his movements. Supervision. Supervised. So I'm getting a little weird there. That's a little hieroglyphics. I don't know what happened there. ER. So anyways, Elijah's put on supervised probation where he's given, see guys, the numbers aren't going to lie. These people are criminal, what they did to my son. 180 hours where we need to bring up this piece of paper because where the problem lies, guys, is it's just like I'm doing and I'm writing everything down. 98% of what is in probation is written down. It's not digital. It's the actual probation officers that should be checked here, and I think are criminal more than even a lot of the people who are actually convicted of a crime. Even my son of a felony property crime, where he was given 3 years of probation and 180 hours of community service. So supervised by Lily Frank. Zach was involved. John was involved. Are you ready to step down? I gave them till 9:30 this morning, guys, to call me. They didn't call, so I've called some news stations, and we'll see. Like I said, I'm not concerned. The numbers aren't going to lie, no matter what they do. It's the numbers. You guys could please. I really hope you guys can get some other people. I mean, it is what it is. All by the glory of God. This is all happening. Remember, it's not me. It's him. So he'll make the final judgment on the numbers, and he knows if I'm twisting or forwarding or perverting or trying to. He knows these are numbers. You can go look at them, and a lot of these you can find on pieces of paper because I'm trying to present you evidence, prior. So anyways, the supervised probation means, guys, if you miss anything, you get is what is called a probation violation. So Elijah can't not show up to appointments. Elijah can't miss a community service or road crew or miss what they call work crew in prison, where you get on a bus and you go out and you do odd jobs for the county on the side of the road, different things like that. So out here, because we live in this little teeny tiny township that they don't have a nonprofit like he'd work for in Lane County, and they may have, I think, in the southern portion of lake, but they don't have in this little town ship up here. They have get in the black bus. The black bus is the problem here too, guys, for this county. Lake County, you got to remember the black bus, because we're going to do a count on the black bus, on everybody who got on that black bus with the trailer. Don't forget it had a trailer on it, so it could be seen and people know where it goes. And so the black bus with the trailer is going to convict you, Lake County, because I know my son and how many other people. So actually, we should maybe put that in a separate category. Let's we could do it twice, because there's always two witnesses. So we'll call this the black. It's actually, see, I don't want to pervert it, because see, we'll go ahead and erase this here, because it isn't a bus. See, like they get in a bus like convicts, and they call that work crew. Out here, it's called black. It's the black van, actually. See, people are idiots. They're running, plus the trailer. Okay. What's it with trailers, man? So anyways, so back here, not running. So black van with the trailer that Dawn got on and did many, I think more than 3/4 of the work. They'll be able to track Dawn, and they're going to have to buy evidence, because I believe this will become a federal case, and it'll also become nationwide, that Dawn was many witness hours. And I'm sure that both of them had phones on him and stuff, guys. And remember, if he doesn't show up once, he gets PV'd, or twice. I don't think they can miss 2 of these appointments. So numbers, I checkmated him already back here, guys. I already won. You'll see I already beat them back here, because he would already been PV'd. So we'll just keep going and run through the numbers. See, I got you again, Lane County. By numbers, you're going to see back here that if Elijah misses 1 or 2, he gets a PV. So we'll talk about how long it took for Elijah to get a probation violation, which proves that you lost by these numbers. I beat you by just the numbers. This isn't he said, she said. The numbers are going to beat you. And then if we have to include analog witnesses and then use digital things like phones or whatever, we will. You're going to see that the numbers speak for themselves. This isn't me speaking, oh, I don't have no motive here. I've never had from the beginning. Let's not anybody lose our minds here. Okay? This is not about me. This isn't about Elijah. This is about the numbers. Okay? They don't lie. I mean, some of them are attached as some of us are. But either way, we'll say that Dawn is a witness, because there's many. Only guys would be just a teeny tiny, but there were Dawn. We had Morgan. Remember, Morgan went out with them. I think it was Morgan that drew that naked lady picture. I think naked lady picture that Elijah still has. You guys have to go through his Facebook and stuff. You guys are really, because of social media and stuff, there's other numbers and even things like that, imagery and stuff they'll be able to. It's quite ridiculous how much this county is falling on their face with the evidence. So we'll go back to the numbers. Try not to get in myself, because 1, 2, Morgan, there was Tom. Remember, there was Tom. That's like Tom back up here. So that's kind of, Tom did hours with him. 3 strikes, you're out so far. There's at least 3 witnesses where they'll all, I'm sure you have to by evidence, you'll have to go, unless you stand down and just stop this bullshit and undo this false crap with this fake warrant. And Elijah, you're going to find that he did ×2, double time, which would be illegal for any 1 hour plus 1 hour. 181 hours would be slaving him. If he violated, I'd understand, but you'll see. So we'll get back to this. 108. This numbers, they're screwed by the numbers, guys. So first contact with John, Zach's involved, Tom's involved, Lily's involved, felony, property crime, gets 3 years probation, 180 hours, supervised probation by Zach. Nope, by Lilith. Hey, we have to go with the evidence. When you're reviewing the evidence, I called her Lilith because she's evil. And if you're biblical, you know what Lilith is. So I've called her to her face Lilith, and there will be messages. So I'm not running from the evidence. I called her Lilith to her face. Maybe she didn't like that, but what she was doing to my son was evil. To let a rapist run around, pause for the cause. All who's ever looking at this evidentiary screen. So I had to just call a tea kettle black. I'm a man. I don't run from anything. I only fear who can take my soul. Woo! I've already peaked, so this is all just a plus for me. But it ain't about me. So back to the numbers, guys. Thanks for hanging in there. So do you guys all agree that if Elijah violates a probation, doesn't show up to what? Let's do simple math. One of these, he's going to get a PV. So Elijah gets on the bus with Don, Morgan, Tom. Darn it, who else? There was one other name. You guys, he worked with other people too. There was other people. We'll go over a reviewing evidence to prove criminal corruption in Lake and Lane County, that they're extorting through a rapist through the counties, that there's multiple, probably at least I imagine if people would stand up and speak up, and by numbers, it won't lie anyways, because if you look at the numbers, are there more rapists, pedophiles, and murders living in your poorest county in your state? I believe this is Patricia already said it was in her state and stuff. So people do the numbers. This is a breaking story, guys. I'm unveiling that they use these programs to hoop and loop even children, almost in this case, all teenagers pretty much, with the, like in this case, the rapist who admits to a criminal act, which automatically revokes his parole and sends him back to serve his remaining sentence, because they released him after 13 years for raping a Hispanic married woman and then high on methamphetamines and then robbing her. So he did 13 years in a Texas penitentiary and then released out here, let's let him out in the county, and then he gets to run roughshod on these younger boys. And I'm sure they're men, but they were this guy has a kind of a way to do it with, hey, come see these rocks and we'll look out. There's rock. This guy's a criminal mastermind, and he lied. I caught on to him because he was lying about this case, which you can find publicly, Tony Karsten, and look, like, I'm not doxing or blasting this man. You can look at him up. He was convicted of rape in 25 years. He's served 13 of those in Texas and was released into Lake County on these programs that I'm talking about. In this, I just happen to live in where this is a beautiful county and stuff. But if I can get these law enforcement officers, somebody to shine a light on these people, the system will take, it won't be me doing it. It'll just be me doing what I'm supposed to do by the Father. He said, follow after me, conform to my image. Through much solipsis we must go to be with the Father. So when he comes back, I can be with him, on this earth when he comes back. Many will not see him, brother, sister, but I have always said that he will be seated at the right hand. He would stand up. He would come back and make his enemies his footstool, right? And he would crush. His heel was bruised by the serpent, remember? And he would come back and crush the head of that serpent that bruised his heel. Hallelujah. Yep. He said, your enemies will be ashes under your feet. So I know his judgments by fire and by water, and it's not me. He will pour out the final measure just on all of this. This is hallelujah. It's ain't me doing it. This is the word. So back to the numbers. The Father speaks in many kind of numbers. Suffering is, well, that's endure to the end. So that may be that every's a little different for everybody. But let's speak about numbers that don't lie. He said you must endure to the end. So I don't know exactly when your end is. Okay, so that's written in already. Okay, so it's not for me to decide. Either way, brothers and sisters. So meek, not weak, brothers and sisters. Wise as a serpent and gentle. So I've never called for any violence. What I've been doing out here for 15 days, man. I'm getting a little whirring a little bit here, but that's all right. He'll give me a double. I know my Father. He'll give me strength. I'll get my second win and I'll push even harder. Noah did it for 126 years and he didn't listen to the world. He just kept listening to God. So hallelujah. One violation of probation would be documented in Elijah's record. So we do now have proof that Elijah got on the bus with all these people. So if they're going to ever let me surrender my son to a system that has already once kidnapped him, Kresha Brunsman. So we're going to write this down. Her name is, we always thought it was C or K, but it's actually Greeett, like tango, T, J like Juliet, E. Brunsman. B, well, I'm going to just Kresha B. Kresha Brunsman. You can look her up. She's the head of probation in Lane County, and I've talked to her about all these numbers, and she doesn't want to listen. So it's not up to me. It's up for the numbers to decide. We'll prove that Lake County should all of these people should go under a criminal investigation, and most of them should lose their jobs. Not by me, by the number. So anyway, so we should make real simple here that it's easy to see that if Elijah would have violated, it didn't show up to one of these, it would be in what we need to make sure. This is very important where the big system is lacking here, guys, is this word called action. They do this in a couple of different ways, but it's always the same. I'll explain it to you what I'm talking about. This action plan. See, this is what Elijah was put under, where his probation officer, Lily Frank, is his probation officer and assigns him a number according to his offense or in his prior. So Elijah had an offense, which made him the highest, higher offense, not being a misdemeanor. He'll have a higher number. Now, it wasn't a violent crime. In this case, it was a property crime. So they assigned Elijah whatever number it was. He definitely was being supervised by Lily Frank. So this is going to be easy to show how guilty they are, guys. Already you'll see that if Elijah would have offended and not showed up to one of these points, it would have been put in his action plan. Now, this is written. This is the problem with the system too, guys, is most of these things are written and they're not there's no accountability. It's like he said, she said, it's analog, Stone Age, Neanderthal probation. What I'm more concerned about, why are these probation officers not putting this in a digital system immediately and seeing instant? We live in a world where we can blockchain, tokenize pretty soon, peer-to-peer transfer. This is ignorance. What they have done here with this non-digital action plan is bullshit. And I apologize for that. I tried not to. It is what it is. 15 days of trying to present, and years, you'll see. You could start documenting by, remember, this had been back in 2019. Oh, man. So being on my feet's a little tougher, guys. Not like that, just because it's a little to sit down, but I'm gonna have to stand up and step up my game, I guess. Go big or go home. So I should be able to easily prove Elijah's guilt or innocence, or proof that he showed up to these appointments by it would have been written in his action plan. There would have been a probation violation. The numbers don't lie. Is everybody following? Let's at least just have a little. I don't care how long this takes. I'll take them as long as I can. Here, I've been streaming for hundreds of hours. They won't listen to me. It is what it is. I'm not stopping. It's not an option. Get it straight. I ain't get down on my knees. It ain't not an option. I'm gonna stand 10-toe until I go back to the dirt, back to the soil. Bones don't come from oil, right? Or oil. What's going on with that? Must have been a hell of stegosaurus. Yeah, whatever. Oil wars, petrodollar. Whoa, I just went off there. Hey, I'm not going to stop. It's not an option. So one probation violation would have been in his action plan. So checkmate this county. Does everybody agree that they should stand down, that this county should stand down, that there is no anything written and they've never been able to produce? And you want me to turn my son over back to, well, he was in Lane and he's come back here, but because that was his original origin offense, like the rapist, when he admitted to the crime, that's an immediate revocation of his parole, and he gets shipped back to Texas, but got to run around and lie. And so he got onto him, and the county was pissed, because normally don't people figure that out. And it's a heavy-handed town that runs people around, and they fear. Remember, I had the probation officer, the real estate agent who's thousands of acres of land that's sold out here, said that people are afraid of the law out here, and he deals with this land and stuff out here. So you heard it organically and already put that up as evidence. So back to the numbers. Okay, 180 hours. Let's go through this. So Elijah gets on the bus, and they're pissed at Elijah. And by evidence, they'll remember, but they've forgotten, because I was involved in all of this from the beginning up their ass, that they wanted Elijah out of the county. And so there was times that Elijah was made to do 2 days on the bus. So we'll go where Elijah, they knew they wanted him out of the county. So Elijah left the county 5 months later. Okay, 5 months. Remember that? 5 months. Okay. 5 months later, he left the county because his origin offense back in 2019, you should be able to see all this by number. That's when he'll have left, because at 1 day a week, him getting on the bus, one day a week for 4 days a month times the 5 months is 160 hours. Now, Elijah had 80, and she was making him on more than one occasion, and these people will witness, Don, Morgan, Tom, and there was, believe there were others that Elijah did work with, and there's other witnesses too on who he worked with. Travis, I believe. Who was the other one? Darn it. I know Kenneth. Gordon, or darn it, what was it? They made, come on, brain, work. There were others, so there'll be other people who witnessed who Elijah had worked with, meaning these were his supervisors that worked over him, plus the people who worked with them. They can't run from the evidence, guys. See what I'm saying, Vanessa? So I'm just trying to work the numbers. Come on, brain. Come on, brain. This man's name. There's a third man that Elijah worked with. There's a third man that they work with, guys. There's multiple people. See, there's more than these. No, I'm trying to 3 strikes him out of him. You know, and some there he always declares 2 witnesses, but I ain't trying. I'm triangulating him, and I'm pinpointing him down to a precision where he cannot be convicted of this anymore. They need to stand down. I've already shown you that this would have been in his action plan. So there wasn't. Elijah didn't make any probation violations because he was made to do it sometimes twice a week. So even if he was cured, that's why it does add up. See, it does. This adds up. If Elijah got on the bus 1 day a week times 4 days a week with these witnesses, Travis, Ken, and okay, there's one other man. It doesn't matter, guys. It will show. Even they have phones and stuff, guys. Remember, I mean, you can use some tech. I'm just doing basic numbers with you to show that the numbers don't lie and the numbers will convict. The dogs are barking at my crow. I got 2 crows have been out here for years, guys. I know that sounds silly, but they love flying around here. The dogs bark at them or something. They mess with them. So anyways, this already shows you that Elijah by number was released from this county and that he did it. I showed you witnesses, and by the number, if he didn't violate, see, he left at 5 months. It already proves Elijah's innocence right here and never should have been able to work 1 more hour. And he did, guys. This young man has been beat by the system. I'm telling you, he has. He's made a mistake, sure. I even got him in trouble when he was younger. We're not hiding from any of these things. So, and prior to that, he never even been in trouble ever in his life, never got kicked out of school, never did anything. It was me who got him in trouble, trying to go make something right, you know. God said, let vengeance be mine. Do not avenge yourselves. So I'm not. We're not out leaving, running around, being, I'm trying here to get my son out from underneath this by the numbers. They should stand down. So, no probation violations. Let's get back to the numbers, guys, since we got a long way to go. A lot more numbers to go over. I told you I'm going to have to do this in videos here just to help for the cause. And I appreciate you just being a part of all 13, lucky 13 by the number. That's my day. Oh, we lost one. Fish off. But anyways, so 12 or 13. So years in months in a year. So 360 days or 65. So, okay, back to the numbers. So does everybody agree that Elijah did all his hours by the number? If he did 1 day a week, there were a couple of days he did. That was the made up of that 180 hours. So that was the agreement. And even I spoke on the phone. Boy, they don't have phones like that anymore, Tracy. This will make it like I was going to do like a regular telephone, but okay. I got on my cell phone, and there's going to be a telephone call where I twice insisted on making sure that Elijah, this is Lake County probation. Remember, I've called now. that I've called, and I've called multiple times, these guys people, but I called for sure there would be able to summons in a court of law my phone call, making sure 2 times, because I didn't want to just hear it. I was actually trying to get them to give me some kind of printout, but they don't want to do that. There is no digital probation. It's Neanderthal probation. It's Stone Age parole. And that they can run rats and rapists around like this. It's pretty crazy because they don't have any accountability. These supervisors, and the supervised Elijah proves that he's innocent right here. To do another moment has been criminal by Lily, Tom, Zach, John, even Kresha Brunsman. All these people should be, by the law, by the number, convicted of criminal activity and should be relieved of their positions, because Elijah shouldn't even have to do 181. So he already did it before he left. That's why there's 0. That's a number we need to remember. 0 offenses from the time 2019, didn't do any probation violations. If he did, that would have meant he wasn't doing this back here, and it's not written in his action plan. So already see we have an issue. So take a pause, if a recess, break, whatever, because this is going to trial. I mean, this is going to go to the top. I'm not standing down. I'll never surrender my son to a system that will not listen to these numbers and just wants to throw him in prison for, what is it, 5 years, 5 years over. They don't want to listen to the prior numbers. So it's not, we're going to start backwards, and we're going to make sure that this is all written down. So Elijah had not committed one probation violation because he showed up with all these Morgan, Don, Tom. There were others. These other 3 supervisors all witnessed. There's too many people who witnessed Elijah in this county. By the number, they've already convicted themselves by not even looking into this information, which means they're just trying to do what they do to everybody out here and be a bully and strong on people, which they're able to normally do. So Lily Frank is pissed off at me because I am exposing their rapo system or their pedophile system or their murder, where they release these people into the poorest counties in America. So this isn't the only state. And this is not only that, because if you're listening to this as evidence, which they're going to have to if they make any wrong move at this point, there are more lawsuits. I have other people now out here that I can prove that this county is targeting people. There are multiple people's stories, like Tina, as I've said. We'll go over her story's a whole number by numbers that convicts this county. Arrested a woman for even 1 day for no evidence, and actually she did all. We'll go on her numbers, a whole live stream. So we'll do that separately for Tina, because she needs some restitution for all her. She was so scared she's going to sell all her property and everything but her car. She started selling stuff, guys. I can't believe what the county did to her. Scared the hell out of her, and I told her, stand down there, lady. You need to stand up is what you actually need to do to these people, and tell them to take you to the box. They got no evidence, and they did stand down eventually, but that's still a lawsuit for throwing her. We'll go over that separate number. Many cases, so they'll add up, though. That's what's going to be the problem for this county, is they can't get rid of me because I have too much evidence now, unless they just stand down and take it like a man, like they should, or a woman, and this, whatever. Let the numbers speak for themselves. If you're committed a crime, do the time like my son did, and then do the hours like he did with these people and all the witness. And then you can't make him do double jeopardy in this country. Like twice for the crime, they've done this to my son. So 2 times, you can't make people do something 2 times. And that's what they've made my son to do. So we're going to get back into the numbers. So my son leaves the county. All the terms and conditions are met. They get Elijah out of here. And I guess, does it shut me up? Well, the COVID was still here, so I was still a pain in their ass because of the COVID. Michael Taylor, why haven't you called me? Your job is gone. Federally indicted. You have to be. How could you not? Not even one call. Not one call still to this day. See, I've been trying to make Michael Taylor the sheriff. He's actually elected sheriff. We need to put him up here because he's actually he's the only one. I don't even want to write his name. I'm so beside myself with this man who is an elected sheriff. He's the elected sheriff. So he has the authority over all these people, and he won't get involved and not even call me one time. And I've called for him publicly. He sent deputies to my house. I've asked for him, called him probably 50 times. And he won't return my call one time about this corruption and other things that obviously have gone on in this county since, dealing with COVID and all these other things, guys. So Elijah leaves the county 5 months later. All terms and conditions are met by the number. I need some help here. At least know somebody's listening. Do you see the numbers that I'm telling you? No probation violations. Gets on the bus with these people. Let me see if I can put this down a little bit more. I can see these numbers a little bit better myself. Okay, there we go. So these gentlemen are supervisors. These are people who he did it with. They'd have to subpoena these people's phones, ping them, whatever. They'll know. Witness, the guy remember the naked lady, all this. I was a part of all this too, guys, back here. Just so you know. Because remember, I was the one who gave the attorney the money to get him out of jail. And somebody else that's been keeping an eye on Elijah. Others have been watching to make sure he's doing what he did. And we've been very pleased that Elijah had done everything he's supposed to do. So any conversation, or I'll go ahead for the evidentiary purposes and try to do it, because guys have always stayed live here, I believe, or tried to make sure the county has to look at all this evidence. And I believe it's helping. They can't just come run up in here when you put out this kind of evidence, so. Anybody out there? The numbers don't lie, 13. All right, I'm moving on. You guys are quiet. That's okay. As long as you don't say anything lewd or crude in the stream, I won't kick you out of here. So, I pray for God's will for you, Starmy. I don't know what you pray for, but so everybody that's looking at this from an action plan, you realize that there was no probation violation written in Elijah's action plan, and that's why he was able to leave the county. Otherwise, he wouldn't have, met the terms of him to get out of here. Actually, they helped him and wanted him out of here. They were doing some extracurricular things that I was pissed about, color guarding him and doing some other things. So this proves right here that Elijah should be, they need to stop coming around and driving around my property trying to gang stalk me. If I called this police department and said, stop gang stalking me, because the world has watched this too, guys. The world has seen this. Hold on, I just got something here on. Oh. Okay, so Elijah should be released from any of this crap right now, and anything he chooses to sue, and whoever was involved, Creshel Brunsman, Lily, that's on him. I personally will be going after Tom, Mr. Taylor here. I don't even call him Mr. He's a failure, Taylor, who's doesn't care about what this community, Lake, North or South County, obviously is involved in criminal activity, where I'll be able to prove too on other cases with illegal warrants. And in this case, I'm not talking, this illegal warrants didn't start with, now I don't know on this case, again, that they were warranted. They somehow found out that there was something in Elijah's shed. Okay, so I guess that's how they got onto it. Snipped. I think it was Tony the Rat that set him up, that was involved in all the property crimes that never went to jail. See? Elijah got set up by the system. He fell for it by this rat. So my poor kid, he was young. He was 19. He'd already gotten in trouble once because his dad got him in trouble with, and you can look into that in a second. I don't want to keep it to the numbers here on the board. So we've already talked about that up here. And but 2019, that was the day. 5 months later, he leaves the county with all terms and conditions. I call Lake County myself probation, and they confirmed twice, 2 times, verbally over the phone. So I want those verbal records because they are digital, and Those can be gotten. Those are. I've been telling them they can't destroy them, guys. So this evidence here will prove that they said Elijah had 0 hours. So I was confirming this all before this day, guys. This was a big supervised by myself too, going, why are you piss testing my son when he wasn't convicted of any drug crime, Lily? You're already got an issue with here, and now I think you're singling my son out. And they weren't happy with me because I was bitching at this county, for their corruption that I already exposed. I realized that this rat was lying to the people in this community about his crime. Oh, she was my girlfriend, or I was dating her, or something. She raped this woman. She had these gentlemen believing that they had gone in and broke into some pedophile's house that was kicked out of this desert out for like a year ago, and they were some kind of vigilantes or something. And he didn't serve a day. That makes Lake County criminal to allow Tony Karsten to run around. And I was screaming it the whole time to Tom, to Ted, the district attorney. Ted is another one that's going to probably is in a sling here, because at the time Ted didn't like me because of what I was exposing. Ted was running for office, the DA. We're just going to call this the I don't know. I don't want to be crude or lewd, but what a failure of a district attorney here as well. A failure of an elected official, and this hopefully bonded, because I've got their bonds. I will go. My son just wants his life back, so hopefully they'll stand down, because they said they're seeing these streams, and I'm going to keep streaming every day until the evidence will fall. I know it eventually, no matter what happens. I tried to remind my son of that today. We need to stand. This is not me. This is the numbers. I'm not doing this for him. This is for everybody that's ever stood in front of this system. I can't make a change. I'm told to conform to his image, follow after me. Tribulation I must go through to be with the Father. So I know I have to stand with these numbers and put them out. He exposed them. Ephesians. People will just run away from you when you sometimes, Ephesians 5, be not partakers in their unfruitful works of darkness, yet expose them. So the numbers expose these people by themselves. So my son has been beat down, guys. And so from any moment, he went, and I want you to know that he left the county. I really wasn't happy about him leaving the county, but I understood that his mom lived over there in Lane County. Elijah's brother lived over there, his younger brother, who they have a relation, watch grow up. His grandpa and Nana, Papa, whatever that's, they have different names, or for my mom, or, her grandma and Nana Papa is what it's called. His uncles and, aunts and all that, they live over there. And I'm the only one out here. Of course, I supported him to leave. I just didn't want him to be about a bunch of other people in the city. And I just kind of want him to do the country thing, but I helped him leave. So these people are criminal to forget that I was helping my son the whole time, paid for him to get out of jail, got him an attorney after his second or third one. I've been on this. I had a lot invested, and it ain't about the money. Okay. But anyways, that's why suing their bond isn't like being vengeful. That's suing them so they can't work in this line of field anymore. So hopefully all this list will have all these people, I'll sue all these people's bonds, and they'll be able to provide for my son and give him some kind of restitution for whatever so let's get back to the numbers. So 0 probation violations. Make sure that Elijah was doing everything under supervised probation, originally under Lily Frank, but now we got to put that he came under Ryan. Now Ryan knows Ryan, because I have a relationship. I already know Ryan Solberg. It gets Sole, and if I get a couple of these spellings off, it's not like a technical. Oh, you got off on a technicality, or that really. So Ryan Solberg was his initial, and I all the way up until you guys. Ryan Solberg received Elijah into Lane County after 5 months. Okay, so nothing was said on the action plan. Not one time was any community service. Now, if Elijah owed community service, they've got something different in their records now, and I don't care what they say. Their numbers are so far off, and these numbers already prove, again, I don't know I think they have some kind of system. They probably can get in there and tweak something, and I don't know what they've done, but it doesn't matter. The numbers already prove to itself. So Elijah has already done his 180 hours. He leaves the county with no violations of probations, no dirty piss tests, he didn't even get convicted of a drug crime. They were attacking my son already because I was attacking them over the rapist. So he was having issues. They wanted him out of the county. They've forgotten about it, guys, too, how deeply I've involved. I'm the one who hired the attorney. I'm the one, so this case does involve me, and they've tried to, why? I live in this county. He left the county. What do you think, to sweep me under the rug? That's the problem. They want to, Elijah, no, you better pay attention to me. I've been involved in this and will be, because see, some of these were my calls too, to make sure I was involved with the first call from the attorney. So now let's get up into, so Elijah hits 18 months of probation. 18 months of probation. And he's had 0 violations. Remember, when he showed up to the county, if he would have had these, they say he requested to do probation there, he would have had to pay a $100 fee to community service. So there's another number that doesn't, it just, it's bullshit, guys. All this stuff that you have listened to, if this is some federal investigation or indictment for me or whatever, why I did what I did out here, are you looking at what I'm saying? This isn't there. So this is 0. It's not there. There's no probation violations. 0, nothing, none. So he's already done his hours back here, either by 160 by one day or a couple of days of it's already clear. That's how he left the county, called the attorney, summons the court records of me talking to my attorney about him leaving and to help facilitate him, why I called Lake County probation and told them I talked with my attorney. So again, brothers and sisters, he would have had to pay a fee, which he didn't. So nothing was mentioned. Elijah hits 18 months. Ryan Solberg is going to probably hopefully lose his job and never be a probation officer ever again. I'm not trying to seek vengeance, but this man knew at 18 months, he told my son, and him and Gresha and Ryan had some kind of conversation. I can't remember exactly. It was in front of Elijah, where he called them out on this stuff, like what is going on here? What about my original hours? Hey, he's looking right there. He's right there. Like they're going to throw their authority, and Elijah still called them out right in front of them. Concerning, again, I believe it was this 18-month thing, again, with this, hey, I'd already done my hours, here, or no, my bad, because that was actually back here down at the 33-month mark. I don't want to hit of myself. That hadn't happened yet. Get ahead of myself, because these people are all, I can't believe what they did to Elijah. So Elijah was in contact, okay? I've been doing this, guys. I'm trying to keep my mark here. So at 18 months, remember, 0 probation violations, which let him leave the county after 5 months. That adds up. 1 day a week for times 4 times 5 months is the 160 hours that he did with Morgan, Tom, Don, and the other gentleman. Can't remember his name. Travis, Ken, and it's not there. I thought it would come that time if I went back around. So, but 18 months. I've already called my attorney. He knows Elijah's coming over, and there's be a phone conversation. So John Caligo's been called here back in the beginning. We have my first contact. So all these are going to have to be summons calls from John. So first call definitely to John. But at 18 months now, I call John again. So you have to summons this, guys. You have to summons this call because these are done by the number, and these are digital phone conversations, or it's all there. So I have a second call with John because Elijah has been told by Ryan Solberg that he is, and I had talked to him this early about getting off of. So I'll have a phone conversation as well that will be documented, multiple conversations about Elijah too. If you stay out of trouble at 18 months, I appreciate you keeping your nose clean. I'm kind of like, hey, you go over there. That's not the best thing, Elijah. There's too many people over there. Stay out of here, man. Dad, I don't want to be in that county, and then people are screwing me over, and you just have a little bit of a hard time. So I let him go at 18 months with 0 violations. He's for what is considered an early release. He can be released from probation early. Hold on, I got to let my little lady girl out here. You want to go outside, sweetie? Want to go outside in the sunshine? I know. I wish we were out building stuff and having a normal just thing, and you could be out there helping me. But Dad's got to do this for Elijah. And everybody else here has been involved in this system that has been victimized by these digital and oops. Okay, well, whatever. Just made it through. So, okay, so no, comes from supervised probation, and I want to tell you that he was lowered because the job of the action plan is to assist the risk to reoffend. Like in Elijah's case, it was a property crime, and he had been 18 months or 3 years of probation and 180 hours of community service. Okay, since it involved some kind of like physical, person on person, they didn't give him like anger management or anything like that, counseling, or he had to report, obviously on a supervised, can't miss appointments, they'll violate you, proves he already was innocent back here, did what he was supposed to. It's not innocent. He just did what he was supposed to. He committed this crime. He was convicted, spent a year in jail, nearly got out, was released on probation with 180 hours of supervised by Lily Frank, and then was released 5 months later because she had made him do it a couple times, color guarded. The numbers are all there. So Elijah goes into no mention of it from day one. Day one was he released into Lane County of any of these hours that he needs to do. So at 18 months, call 2, I contact my attorney and said, hey, you can get off probation early. He was already done all his hours back there. He's aware of that. I'm calling about his restitution. There's this number of $47,000 worth of, and people think these people let these people victimize some of these people by fluffing some of these numbers. When I look through what these people, what they called and done, like there was some of these guns that were taken and they had them all re-blued and went through. Spent a ton of money on these, just some of these that these people had in the closet or something, because it wasn't a 7-degree house or something or what. I don't know what it is. It was overkill, guys. They really jacked. They let these people jack. But anyways, I'm almost assuming again that almost this was picked up by homeowners insurance, and some of these people did have, insurance on these properties or whatever. So, but either way, there was restitution that was involved, and I did not know that because of 5 guys. Remember, the only one who served time, my son. I wanted to know. It looked like they were trying to make Elijah pay for all $47,000. So I didn't know how to come up with $47,000. I didn't have $47,000. I could probably sell my land for that right now, but at the time I didn't have it. But I called John. So call 2, checkmate, Lake County, stand down. If you're watching these streams, you got to be going, oh my gosh, guys, he's melting our crap. We're coming apart at the seams. Captain, she's breaking up, Captain. Yeah, you're breaking up. Your numbers are proving you're criminals out here. And I'm just doing what my father told me to do. Is Ephesians 5. Be not partakers in their unfruitful works of darkness. Expose them. By the number, I'm doing it. Evidentiary stream. I've already proven back here that my son has done all these hours. So any number that he's been made to do more than is criminal by these people, and they will lose their bonds, hopefully, and never work in this field again. And people across the United States, this will spread like fire and will expose all these other counties, rat ring or rat race or whatever they have what they're doing. It's all about the money. Treating them like dogs and criminals through a digital system should be in place to track their movements. Oh, he showed up here to here. Oh, you showed up, Elijah, down here. Dan, you got to go on the list, Dan. Dan, you got to go on the list because I've contacted you so many times about Elijah's hours and you never gave him a printout one. You can't give any itemized list of anything. Dan Budd. Okay. What are you doing, kitties? They're playing. We got two baby kitties. All right. We have to take a kitty break, even if it's an evidentiary stream. People are looking at this. We got to lighten the mood here because these people are criminal. Little baby kitties. To make things better for a moment, to lighten the mood. Baby kittens. Baby kittens. Baby little brother kittens. All right. So, you've been such a good mama. You want to stay in here? You want to go outside? What do you want to do? You want to help Dad. I know. You want to be outside working. She wants to be outside working. Come on outside, girl. Go play with the other kittens. Come on, my baby girl. Come on, Miss TP. Come on, little girl. Go on out there. Go on out there. No? All right. You want to stand with the dad? I don't know what they're talking about. Puppins. My good boys. Been such good boys. Keeping an eye on Adrian and Elijah. I have the best dogs in the whole wide world. Whole wide world. Watching how my dogs have performed, knowing that I kind of have a thing for my dogs and probably could have been left this property and maybe a lot of this could have been different, you know. So, and I didn't. I chose to stay here with my dogs and do this thing that I chose to try to build a community and live a meek life and organically grow food and, you know, be off the grid and all the things I do. But anyways, back to the numbers. 5 guys, 1 man. Okay. He does all his terms of probation of supervised, gets himself all the way down to unsupervised, where he's not being supervised anymore, meets all the terms of condition to be released early. And I'm looking at the numbers. So I called John for the second time. And we talk about this number and we divide it. I divide it. If you take that divided by 5, guys, that's why I have here, that equals $9,400. Now, what a shame, all over money. At that point, my son would have been released off of probation if I had had $9,400. So as a dad, I feel pretty bad that I couldn't come up with the 94 and between him too, but he was being, you know, doing his other things and trying to get his life on track. And, you know, I believe he's already met this lady he was with for a while and, you know, trying to do his thing, stay out of trouble. And he was doing it. Good job, Elijah. But I couldn't come up with $9,400. This would be happening right now over $9,400, guys. Or even if Elijah had to pay it all, which I don't know why he'd have to pay it all. I don't know. I didn't have to. But either way, think about it. Over money, my son had met all the terms because there was no term. That's why Ryan Solberg, who knows. Oh, watch it, kitty. Oh, sorry. I thought that the kitty had this was trying to get my foot right behind me because I'm standing next to the kitty cage, reaching out there, guys. I stepped back and you okay, kitten? So, either way, Ryan Solberg is not, and I've made Ryan Solberg very aware of this now. Why this county hasn't called to rectify this situation by the numbers should already have been taken care of. So we leave it alone. Elijah's pretty disappointed that, you know, we couldn't come up with the cash to get this taken care of, but it is what it is. And at that time, his probation officer starts making him pay restitution, right? He makes him pay restitution at that. So there's going to be some record again, by record, not by my opinion, that Elijah starts paying into this whatever amount. So it kind of spurs this in the system. You should start seeing Elijah making payments into the system at that point. Come on, kitten girl. You can't help Dad live stream. You can't. I can't. I don't need your help live streaming. I need to focus. I don't want to step on you. You're going to have to go outside and get in there with your babies. You will. You'll have to go in there or get in there with your babies. What do you want to do? lay down right there where I need to be. What? That's Murphy, yeah? No, that's Jennifer, girl. Don't worry, baby girl. You've been such a good mama to be beat. Dad'll take a break for just a minute. Don't worry, girl. You've done a good job, mama. All right. Now you gotta go back in the. You gotta go back in there with your babies because I don't want to step on you, sweetie. I was gonna step on you. You're not a very big girl. You're just my little sweet pea. So I'm dragging all this along, guys, so you can see there should be some kind of a mention of some violation here. No mention, but there Elijah has to start making payments. So Elijah could have been released off probation back here at 18 months on early release if it was either $47K or whether it was $9,400. It doesn't matter. It's behind us, and that's what sucks. So Elijah hits. Man, this number. Oh, I don't know why. It comes up a lot. Always. So go ahead. Elijah hits 33 months, where he was given 3 years, which is 36 months. And at 33 months, they tell him, hey, Elijah, before you can get off probation, you have 133 hours of probation or community service that you haven't completed back in Lake County. We got an issue right here, guys, already. You don't, like a mortgage, you don't pay on your principal first. You pay on the interest on the front side. And when people get convicted of felonies or misdemeanors, they have community service. It's done on the front side, not the back side. So already we have an issue here, and that won't be the norm on any other action plan. And it wasn't written. That's why no probation violation, even in month 33 on Elijah's report of a violation. Do you see the problem we have here? Whoever's listening to this is an evidentiary stream. This county's numbers hangs itself. This isn't me trying to have some special treatment for my son. I already screamed this back here with the rapist. I want him 5 of 1. Why is he the only one in jail? Why is he, I thought might be back here at the 47,000 mark, that it might just be pinning him with all this. So I had that call too with my attorney. So why Lake County continues to do this, I don't know. I just have to believe it's God's will that this is bigger, and this will expose that this is happening throughout many counties throughout the United States of America. It's not a perfect system anymore. It's, people can't think, that anybody can make a change. And, not one person can make a change. It does take a group of people. That's why I need cooperation. But I'll tell you that some people, they're just, whatever, young or ignorant or whatever it is. But remember, either history repeats or it rhymes. People mistake the woes of history and repeat it because they don't know it. So I know it's always been the smallest numbers of people who've made the greatest change in history. So don't falter on my knowledge. And I busos bathos. I don't listen to ignorance, or I don't listen to childish things that come out of people's mouths. So I've been 7. I know I've studied this, and I know that throughout history, it has been the smallest number of people who throughout history made the greatest change. It doesn't take a massive number, like 20% stop funding, like throw tea in the harbor. Remember those things? 20%, there's no federal government. So it doesn't take large numbers. And yes, one man can do it. And that's why I've called for help. So trying to do what I can by the numbers. Now, different side of this live stream. I've been streaming for 15 days sitting on my ass. So now I'm standing up. So I don't know if I can do 16 hours of streaming on my feet. I'm 50 years old, but I'm trying to do what I can here. How many hours we got? Hour and 18. Ooh. Okay. So evidentiary stream, no probation violations. Elijah at 133 hours. He's told at 33 months. This is bullshit. This is targeting back here, and they're still pissed off because I'm still making problems in the county. Back here, I'm still making problems. Trust me, I am. I have a pain in this county's ass. So it is what it is. Go look at the facts. This is about numbers in this case, okay? No facts too, huh? The numbers don't lie. And they will convict Lake County and Lane County here soon. Crusher Brunsman is going to go probably hopefully be removed from her head of Lake County position, because she's been advised of all of these hours, and I've asked her to make a call, and so has Elijah requested her to call, and because her job is, again, through an action plan, they're supposed to assess their risk to reoffend, lower their risk, as Elijah did, was a perfect role model probationary for 33 months. Elijah didn't do anything in the system. There was nothing that he hadn't done. Remember? Elijah was a perfect, he went from supervised felony all the way down to unsupervised, RU, or now they've changed it or something, but where he was unsupervised. He was just reporting into, I think he has to fill out some piece of paper, and see, it's all paper. So Elijah's told at 33 months that he has 133 hours. And he calls me with a broken heart going, Dad, what is going on here? And so Dad gets involved again, guys. I'm involved back here at Crusher Brunsman. This is where we have a call with Crusher Brunsman, where I remind her, hey, I already called, Lake County back here, probation, and they said he didn't have the hours. This is bull. He had already done his hours back here. There's evidence. If you'll just call Lake, and they should be able to clear this up. And actually figured out what they had done is they made they played word salad, and I'm not going to let them get away with this. Like what they call work crew. I can't stand how they treat these people out here. That would be like if you went to prison and you went out on the side of the road and you get in a van. Remember back here, they don't have the bus. They have the black van with the trailer, where Elijah had been with Don, Morgan, Tom, and another. Sure, there was others, and Travis, Ken, and Gordon. No, that's not it. I'm trying. The name's not coming to me, guys. I'm trying. So, but anyways, it is about the numbers, not about the names. They are people who will witness by number, track phones. They have their own number. They're their own number. Their cases are their own numbers. So each individual has its own numbers too. They'll play parts if they take this far into a like federal or Supreme Court or something. And I don't know how far it's going to go. I'm not doing this. I'm just trying to present you with the numbers. Don't shoot the messenger, please. So 133 hours. And I'm also protecting to make sure my son doesn't get thrown in prison for 5 years over something that I have that proof he already did back here. So that's why I called Crusher Brunsman and said, hey, what's going on here? Please call. You're the head. I've tried. These people don't want to talk. No cooperation. My attorney was involved. Let's make this happen. Please. Come on. They're pissed at me because I'm exposing corruption. Oh, wait, you're talking to somebody who's in the same field. Crusher Brunsman in the same field. So, she never called. Instead, my son called me, so I've called her to let her know about all this, and I'm a little upset. I do believe, I'm not sure at that time, and I'm not sure again if I called my attorney, and there could be a call to my attorney. I've never thought about this because I've never run this out in kind of this time format like this, and I know it's in my head, but and this is all on a timeline too. They have to put this on a timeline, and that's what I'm kind of doing here. This is like an evidentiary timeline of his, his hours, and so should have spun it long ways and put it on a timeline like this, but it's all right, guys. It's still evidence, by number. Remember, it's not so much about the time, because time is a part of this too, the numbers and time. But either way, these 133 hours, I did call Crescia because I don't believe I bothered my attorney with it. I believe I just tried to get a hold of Lake County and speak with them, and then I did call Crusher Brunsman, the head of probation. So I'm pretty sure that's how it went down. I didn't. But maybe I did. So there might have been a third call. You better summons that and find out if I did. Make sure we look at all the evidence, please. I don't want to hide anything like I'm trying to favoritism. Remember, I wasn't back here. And no, you can't come out of there. So anyways, so my son is quite upset. And I think maybe I did. And my attorney told my son to put his head down and do the hours or something. I don't know, guys. I didn't have the money to pay him more money at the time. Remember, I couldn't pay back here for the restitution. So I'm not sure if that's, I know my attorney didn't look at anything at that point. I didn't give him any numbers or didn't. I said just, hey, remember Elijah was, trying to kind of screw him. And he's like, Tracy, remember that's probation and I'm a criminal attorney and, but this is criminal now. So, and he knows when I talked to him, he was like, well, I didn't know it was that big, Tracy. He kind of forgotten some of this stuff, guys. So he did what he's supposed to, Elijah. He got Elijah out from underneath extortion and this racket, and they almost railroaded him. Now you see they've railroaded him again. And so this is now proof of targeting too, guys, that this county's pissed at me. And my son now has had to, now starting at 18 months, they say he has 133 hours to complete. He's very upset. And so I called Kresha Brunsman and I talked to her and said, you need to get a hold of this. Elijah already did all these hours back here. If you make him work another hour, that's criminal. So Elijah, what they told him was that you need to work. If you don't want to do these hours, you need to work on getting those hours. So Elijah for 6 months, and it kind of looks like he didn't do anything, and they make him kind of look bad on paper, but I want to show you that for Elijah for 6 months, and I do believe with his girlfriend, again, I do call that his wife because he's been with her a long time, there'll be calls with them trying to call back to Lake and to Lane, and with no cooperation, they did to their dismay and were shot down to create call these Lake and Lane and supervisors, and they won't even talk to you in Lake, and like they won't call me. Even the Michael Taylor, who's the head of all this shit, who could take care of all this, don't even want to call me even once. Not even one time have I ever gotten a call. And I demanded his call this morning. I didn't ask for it, I demanded for it, and they still don't. Well, so it is what it is. They'll all be convicted, I'm sure, of their crimes. And if I have or whatever, and whatever, let the cards fall, let the evidence fall where it lies. So still no call for Michael Taylor. He could be interrupting the stream. I do have it set where the stream can be. I don't have the warnings notification shut off. If somebody calls, I'll know. Unavailable. Hey, they finally listened to the numbers. So either, hey, they don't want to go serve any prison time. I do believe that some of these people like Lily Frank will probably hopefully put in prison for what she's done is running a racket out here with Tom. Obviously, he has issues. Solberg, I gave him a chance. He was really like the last person I called over there in Lane County. He said, hey, you can be a hero. And remember, at 18 months, you were going to let Elijah off with don't call and get this taken care of, or did Kresha put you up to it? Or are you just part of the racket, Ryan? Not one call from Ryan. Not one call since from Lily. Not one call from Ted. Not one call from Tom. I've had a couple. He came out here because somebody said I was stealing their property, but he came out and I showed him the boxes and receipts and all that. Like, that's Cole Bergman. We won't put him on the list. That's some guy who just does methamphetamines where I went and bought something off the internet and it was his girlfriend or something. Well, that turned out to a weird deal. But Zach, you got to go. You need out of probation. I went in your office and tried to talk to you about what the hell was going on with Elijah. You remember I kind of gave you a ripped you new one there when you had Tony and Elijah there in the same room where they had a no contact order. You booked them at the same time. That was you, Zach, I believe, that did that. You're a failure. That's crazy, guys. They booked this rapist who they were already supposed to have a no contact order. They booked him to be in the same building at the same place at the same time. Talk about failures. Lake County probation is definitely failing. Dan Budd, I've spoken with this gentleman multiple times, and he can't track or even to this day has even given my attorney any itemized list saying Elijah ran off. Well, let me see evidence and let me see real numbers on where he did, on what places, the soup kitchen, out there in the garden. And I want to see some digital and visual photos too of where his car, if you say he's not there, what do we do if we can go to a camera outside that location and it sees him come in that day and you say he wasn't there, or if he left and he just was out in the parking lot eating his lunch in the parking lot. He got fucked over, and I apologize for cursing in the stream. Maybe that's twice. Whatever, that's not too bad. My back's hurt from standing up. Apologize. So I'm kind of leaning on the cage here. So so Mr. Dan Budd, I've asked Elijah multiple times. There's going to be multiple times where I've requested him. He's left. I know he left before he left where he was working in the garden and drove all the way across town to like East 11th, I believe, out there where he was at. trying to get a printout because now I want you to summon those phones records. When this gets subpoenaed, goes to Supreme Court, whatever, how big this case goes, you'll see I called him and said, I don't want to hear this crap, Elijah. These people should be able to give you some kind of eyes by his list. He's like, well, Dad, the one time he gave me hours because they drove down in the storm. I said, I don't want to hear that crap. I want a printout. I've called him. I'm going to call him being involved with this. These people need to produce some kind of freaking something. Print it out. He even went there, and the guy, Dan Budd, stood Elijah up, would not let him go back in his office and talk, look at a computer screen, stood him up with his wife, girlfriend right there at the time, and made his business known to everybody. This man needs to lose his job. John Caligo is the attorney, so you can't, I don't know why John's in here with this, so we're going to take John off here. Apologize, John. We'll fill somebody in there because we got to put John up here. John is up here where you better pay attention because there's an attorney and then there's the elected sheriff, you know, and if we have to get more attorneys involved, I will take as many, whatever it takes. So John has recently been in contact with the Lane County Sheriff's Office. This man is doing work. Okay, I don't know why Lake County doesn't want to listen to me, but it is what it is. I can't worry about what I can't change, and I'm not trying to change a thing. I'm trying to. What are you guys doing? Oh, that's her. She wants out. So back to the numbers. Elijah contacts me. I contact Kresha Brunsman and tell her, hey, you need to get this taken care of. Elijah, if you noticed what I'm saying, he went back and did work. He started doing more time. So we can start adding hours that this man hopefully will get reimbursed for someday for his time. Well, I started adding hours to this 180. So any hour, 1 hour over is extortion by Kresha Brunsman. Okay, so we're going to continue on in here. And so for 6 months, Elijah continues. I don't know how many hours he'd done at that point, or if he'd done any. I know he put hours. You'll be able to see he was trying to document. And I kind of what he was seeing, he's like, why in the hell would I do these hours if I can just get these hours taken care of? I'm not going to have to do any of these. So I don't think he did anything for the 6 months other than try to document these 180 hours, okay, that he had done. So do we have any kind of live stream? You guys they've shut down my stream before. Can I get any kind of response from somebody in the chat there? Is that still coming through? Are you hearing my voice? Mic check, 1, 2. Check the mic. 1 witness, twice, call 3 times. They're going to be out again. So anyone? I'll stop the stream and go over it all again by number if I have to. I hope that somebody's out here hearing, at least hearing something on the other end. Do I have any kind of verbal in this live stream? I'm going to do this from now on until they come. I'm going to go over this every day. Stand up. Ugh. It's going to kill my back. Nothing? No volume? No mute? Anyone? I'll break it up at 1:33:33. Check 1. Anyone? I just showed up. Are you hearing me? Hello? Anyone? Is there anybody out there? Okay, cool. So thank you. So we'll go back over it real quick for you. This starts back a year ago with our 2019 with Tony Karsten, where 5 men were convicted of a property crime, including Elijah. He was the only one of 5 to do any jail time. This rat called Tony Karsten did 13 years of a 25-year sentence in a Texas penitentiary. Was released into Lake County on this contract where they release more felons, whether rapists, murderers and pedophiles into the county of Lake County on this program where they run through like Lily. Now, Lily was this probation officer. And so Elijah, for 5 months, 1 day a week, getting on the bus at 1 day a week, sometimes he was made to do it twice, completed not only his 160, but the 180 hours after giving a 3 years of probation and 180 hours of community service for the property crime that he was convicted of with 3 other, teenagers. They were all, I think 3 or 4 were teenagers. So, but they were all young men, and this guy was a rapist. So I caught on to, because he was lying to people around here. about his crime. You know, if you're a rapist, you don't go run around when this is in the digital age lying about your crime. People can look it up. You know, Tony Karstens. How many Tony Karstens do you know? So either way, so that's just a little catch up. Elijah would have been violated by probation. There are witnesses that Don, Morgan, and Tom, Travis, Ken, and another gentleman who was his supervisor. Well, all these people could be summoned in a court of law as witnesses to testify that this county has already now violated his terms of making him now, trying to even threaten what they've just done to us is extortion, making me spend all these hours live streaming, now just standing on my feet, you know, for an hour and a half. I'm just older. It's not like sitting on my butt. So I'm feeling it a little bit. But Elijah, again, had done everything he needed to do because 1 times 4, times 5 months equals 160. Plus an extra day or 2 equals that 180, where Lily Frank made him do those hours because she's pissed because I was exposing the rat. Going, what the hell? Why is my son in jail? Causing him all this stink out here, telling him this dude's a freaking pedophile and a rapist, and you're letting him run around in this county, and you got my son locked up. Why the fuck is he not in jail? I kept asking why this man wasn't in jail. Why is the rapist not in jail? So we want to know this, Lake County. Why, if he was involved in this property crime, he even on paper admitted to doing the crime. And once I got a hold of that and told them, you guys are done. How could you sit there when he admitted to the crime, let him continue to run around in the county? You're liable for a rapist who's lying about it. He said it's his girlfriend, it's his fiance. He was lying to people in this valley who were on to him already. And the gentleman who helped, I remember the day that he, helped with Elijah to help get him out with John, the actual monetary he brought me. Why are you letting your son hang around that guy? He's a veteran, I'm a veteran. And he's like, dude, I don't know. He just met him. I only seen him a couple of times. He's like, dude, that dude's a brat. He got on him with me about letting my son hang around with him. And so he's a vet. I'm like, okay, I'll listen to you. And so I started searching, and we found out that, again, he had convicted a 25-year prison sentence in Texas, and we're onto this system. And that's how I stumbled into this poorest counties in the United States, get these rapists, murderers and pedophiles released to help fund the county. I didn't mean to stumble into this. This is just a matter of fact, and now it's a matter of numbers. So day 15 right now, standing up here, but the numbers aren't going to lie. I'm literally standing up now, so you have to excuse me if I get a little wince or something. I'm had some injuries before in the past. So 133 hours. Elijah says, hey, 6 months, man. I'm going to try to get these done. I think he gave up, and then he started doing hours, and he's not getting these 103 done exactly, but I know now that no matter what, that there were hours, because their hours are weird on how there's no accountability. So I want to put up hours in your face to at least establish a point of reference from one point where my son could go, okay, if you won't give me anything, he'd ask, I believe, to request Kresha for how many hours he had and how many hours he needed to complete. So it's really weird, like I said. So, but I'd already contacted the head of probation in Lane County and said, you better get on this, lady. I'm not going to be out of your side. I'm going to keep going. If I go away for a minute, I'm going to be on the side getting more information, and you're going to be in trouble if you don't take care of this. He was released into your county. He's the head of probation. How could you not have his hours? I was involved. You can summons my phone record of me calling Lake County to make sure the numbers are even, they're there. Are you freaking ignorant? What's going on? I didn't call her ignorant. Look at the numbers. Stop her. Make sure you get them taken care of. What do you mean 133 hours? That's crazy. That's extortion. You can't do that. So I'll make sure, make a call, because they don't want to listen to me. You're the head of probation, so do your damn job, lady. I probably did tell her that. So either way, Elijah requests, because now this is Elijah requesting her to, because I kept on, Elijah, you better call these two. You email them, you make sure, okay, that, because what happened, guys, is after, I don't think I've jumped ahead of myself here. Once Elijah called this, I want him to take care of it. But Elijah had 6 months, and then because after this, they gave him, yeah, that's what it is. They gave him 1 year. This is why Elijah was like, he got broadsided by this. Okay, it's starting to come back on how they did this, guys, to him, too. Again, he had 1 year from this 33 months to complete because he had an extension of his probation, which was 36, where they gave him more another year. So that would have gave him a 48 months of being on probation. That's illegal. That should be a red, too. That's kind of extortion there. Look at what they did to him. They extended his probation when he was already had it done here. Fucking criminals, man. This probation system is absolutely criminal. I'm standing here, not me. It's not me. I'm not trying to change a damn thing. I'm showing you the numbers. They should speak for themselves. It's also that they had him doing quite dirty work for the council. That's why he's not. So, okay. So anyways, yeah, no, he didn't. And that's what he was doing. That's what you got it. It's called a rat, and I exposed it. So they extended Elijah's probation. So now he's 33. So he's month like 42, guys, I believe, right around there. I'm trying to remember these. So about or ish, it should be by the numbers that Elijah had tried and tried and tried to get his numbers back here from Lake County. I was involved too, guys. And I believe at month 43, they told him, you know, you don't have all these 133 hours done. We're going to throw you in jail, Cressha Brunsman says. Can you believe this? Balls of this lady. She don't have no balls, but can you believe the balls of this lady to throw him in jail when she didn't want to make a call back here to clarify instead of doing her damn job? And this is Elijah's first probation. Now, I don't think he was even violated yet back here. See what the hell their problem is? If somebody violates, it's going to be in their action plans. Elijah has been a role model probationary up to this point. That's why he was able to get released at 18 months. It'd been on unsupervised probation since somewhere back in here from his original, starting in 2019. He'd done everything. See, you guys, what the hell are they doing? Their numbers are killing them. And I know that they can't convict or take my son to prison right now by not this. Actually, these people need to stand up for their crimes. It's not me doing it. Once again, it's me showing you what they've done. It's not me doing it. It's them. They did it and they need exposed. Ephesians 5, be not partakers in their unfruitful works of darkness, expose them. So here I am today, standing up instead of sitting on my butt, trying to show you the numbers. They don't lie. They're evidenced against them. So it should convict all these people. The numbers should alone convict these people of criminal actions as well. So again, 42 months, somewhere in this timeline, guys, my son is threatened with a year with a violation of probation if he doesn't. So I know he's working at this time and he didn't do all the hours again, and there was some issue, but I'm going to show you that I know he was working, and I know he had worked for several places before in Lane County where he had to work at there's multiple places that are nonprofit down there. Like here, there isn't. You can only do the road crew like he did back here, the 180 hours on road crew or whatever. So that's how they ended up messing with him, guys, is that what they did is over here, instead of saying that they said that because he did road crew, I said he did work crew here in Lake County. They don't have the nonprofit up here in the north portion of the county because it's a little farming township. They have what is called road crew. And that's Elijah where he got in the black van with the trailer and did all these work with these gentlemen. So Elijah had already done it back here. And so, again, he, with these 133 hours, was trying to say, hey, I'd already done these hours. And that's, again, he'd already done the terms of probation. None of this was listed. He didn't have any more to do. That's why it never said it in his action plan when he originally came into Lane County. All this has been brought up to Cressha Brunsman. And instead of looking at any of this, I'm a little fuzzy on some of these numbers, but right around this time, they threatened Elijah, and he did. He'd already done some of the hours, I believe, in trying to get these hours. So I don't know. It doesn't matter because they don't have any numbers they can produce. But I do know that my son I kept telling him to get the numbers, that he'd had, because I know he was already doing some working too on, trying to get these hours so he didn't even have to do these additional hours. So how they had ended up screwing him is they said that, hey, Elijah didn't do community service. He didn't complete his hours of community service because instead of calling it community service out here, it's called road crew, not work crew. So they sprung Elijah with these different hours by not giving him any of this work that he did back here, which is criminal. And I've been screaming this from the beginning. And so if they want to sit there and play word salad with him, it doesn't matter. The numbers will speak for themselves because that's how they sprung these. I figured out how they did this to him because they didn't count these hours of community service that he did road crew. So either way, they're criminal. You should see that already. It's this evidentiary stream, that what they've done is criminal. So I kept demanding that Elijah keep calling and emailing. And so Kresha Brunsman on October 5th of 2023 at 7:19 a.m. let Elijah know this is her email. So, Kresha Brunsman for evidentiary streams. So if you're looking at this federal indictments of all these, what I call criminals, I don't think they should serve in the capacity of the community, or they are not public servants. They're actual criminals, and I'm proving the numbers to prove themselves. So Kresha Brunsman with a G, Kresha Brunsman at, what is that? Lane County, Oregon.gov. Email this lady and tell her, what are you doing? You've been shown to be a criminal and you should probably stand down. I don't know why they haven't issued an arrest warrant for Kresha Brunsman, because you're going to see that she kidnapped my son because she already knew. So at this point, let's put a number. Since you can't get numbers, I'll read it and then I'll put the number in front of you to show you that Kresha Brunsman has failed her duty of dereliction and has not serviced. Her job is to help people assess the risk to offend, assess the number, and then apply the proper, not barking them like a dog, not help anybody. The job is to help them lower their risk to reoffend, anger management. If they were involved in a domestic dispute, a husband and wife or something, they're going to apply the proper to get them to lower their risk, to get them off of, like in Elijah's case, supervised where everything's watched, to unsupervised, and then off of probation to help them. They're there to be. So the head of probation, when you call her to try to get her help with another county and she don't want to do anything but try to put them in jail, you'll see that's actually kidnapping. And she did kidnap my son, and I have proof of this. So anyways, you're not, seeing the numbers. I apologize. This is an evidentiary stream. So at 42 months, again, I believe they threatened my son with putting him in jail. And again, I had told him many a times, their numbers are off. And again, he's already done work. He's put a ton of time into trying to get the hours they had already done calling and even emailing. So she did respond on October 5th of 2023 at 7:19 a.m. to Elijah and she says, I've contacted Officer Black at the Sherman Center, which is in Lane County, Oregon. He's one of the sheriffs. And he's informed me that you have 23 hours. I don't know if that's 123. It says 23 because we have to have 133. Their numbers are weird. But anyways, we'll go with what they have completed and of community service, which is kind of a strange number. But anyways, leaving a balance of 30 hours owed, which I don't, here they're saying 133, but I don't care. I know Elijah had already done work. It seems that they're having a problem tracking numbers and there's nothing digital. So it does say here for evidentiary purpose, this is from the head of probation, Kresha Brunsman, saying that he has a balance. That's a little fuzzy because it's a copy of 30, a balance. It's right up here. A balance. Hold on, let's see if we can make that not so fuzzy. A balance of 30 hours owed. This is from the head of probation. A balance of 30. It's fuzzy, but it's there. 30 hours owed. Come on, camera. It's kind of dark where I'm at too, or a little bit in the cabin here. So of 30 hours owed. I'm sure they can still frame that, whatever evidentiary purpose. Yep, it says it right there. A balance of 30 hours owed. Why is that so stinking fuzzy? Okay, I'm sure we can do here. A balance of 30 hours owed. And that's even over the hours he did back here, guys. So now Elijah has done these hours. There's some discrepancy about their numbers are just out of control and they're not tracked and traced. And I've given you numbers back here. So this is evidence that back in 2023, Elijah had 30 hours that he needed to complete. And he's done more hours than that, guys. So the system is going to have to stand down here and realize that they made a mistake and it's okay. Heads are going to roll, but I'm not trying to seek some kind of lawsuit, personal lawsuit against anybody. I do want to see most of these people relieved by their bond to not work in these lines of community service anymore. And I believe that all of these on this list, except for John Caligo up here, who's an attorney, obviously, but these people are all bonded. And I will try to make sure that that I put a suit against the bond because they are supposed to be trusted. And that's what a bond is, to work in that line of work. And so I don't want these people in this line of work anymore. Crusher Brunsman, as the head of probation, should have had an arrest warrant issued for her this morning because, again, my son had some issues with some of his numbers. And again, I don't know. I think she gave a month or something, or a couple months or something, to get these hours. Maybe it was 2 or 3 to get these 133 hours. Went back here. Yes, I think that's what it was. Again, I think I see. And if I'm off, it's okay. The numbers will speak for themselves. But I think I have this correct, is that he had 3 months to complete these 133 hours. Okay. Where he thought, again, by what they told him, he had 48. He hadn't hit that mark, if I'm not mistaken. He was still within that time where he shouldn't have been put in jail. He shouldn't have been given a probation violation. They gave him an extension for a year and then said, hey, you got 3 months to get this done, somewhere within like this 45 months. So he still had another 3 months, and they sprung this and then put him in jail, gave him a probation violation because I believe there were still about 3 months. I don't think my numbers will be off. Even a month. I think they were very close, maybe a week or even a day. It's not at 45. See, he still had time, but at 45, they told him again at 43, 133, you got a year. And at 42, they told him again by those numbers again, remember, that he had 3 months to do it. And he really still had 48. So they had stepped in 3 months early and said, you better do this. We don't think you'll finish it. We don't think you'll finish it because you're not doing what you're supposed to. He did spend time, a lot of time too, back here, putting time in to try to recover these 180 hours that they're not giving him any credit for too. Times that he drove down there and didn't get credit because of ice storms. All these hours that are unaccounted for that even Dad back here said by phone call, you'll see if they charge him and pull up and subpoena all his duty phone that he did give Elijah credit for hours. And he did tell these people at things like the food places and stuff to round their hours up, at the soup kitchen because it closed at 2:30 to make it 3 and round up. These people have they pick and choose what they want to do. When they want to criminalize somebody, they'll take away, and when they want to add, like they get to keep in the system, the add to just keep fishing them like a carrot in front of their freaking head. So there was a discrepancy here again, guys, that he wasn't given the 48 months to complete this. They arrested him early. He was given a probation violation, I believe, at 45 months, where they PV'd him, and instead of Crusher Brunsman finding this work, she put him in jail for 3 days. And that's kidnapping. Because he's already done the work back here, and now he's done more work that I know, because they said he only had 30 hours, so he at least probably did 100. I don't know where that lady's getting that from, because he was doing work. So either way, and even if he was not doing all of it, he still had time to complete it. You put him in jail even early. You threatened him with arrest when you didn't give him, you had him an extension for a year for his probation. So you violated this, and you kidnapped him and arrested him. And put him in jail for 3 days, not 1 day, which you could have. You could have chose one day. You were the person who oversaw this, Crusher Brunsman. I know. I've done my homework on this. You could have given him 2 days, but you chose to give him 3. That was the max time that you could give him. And you make him look really bad on paper, but you got to remember, Crusher Brunsman, you look horrible on paper because you've never called me again since this time that I told you this. You won't return any of my phone calls. I called you last week, this week, I called you years ago. Now you won't return my call. You need to relieve of your duty, Crusher Brunsman. This lady incriminated the head of probation and put my son, kidnapped him, if you look at it, because there was still time. Threatened him and said, oh, we don't think you're going to complete it. You didn't even give them the time to complete it that you said you would. They're not following any of the rules. They twist and pervert. So that is kidnapping, because he had already done the time back here, and then you made him do more work. That's slavery. That'd be called slavery. Any hours that he did over 80 plus, if he did one more hour, that's you enslaved him. They didn't give him more time back here. They just told him he needed to complete it. If that was one thing, that'd be one thing, but they didn't give him more community service. Remember, he went month 45 for the first time he ever received a probation violation for his first time, and they threw him in jail. Over a probation violation, guys. They threw him in jail over a probation violation for his first time. Can you believe that? And he'd already done the hours. So if you're witnessing this as a grand jury or anybody who's on this, please look at what has been done. These are the criminals. Lake and Lane County, here's your list of criminals. Elijah Warner's not the criminal. Am I a criminal for protecting him and not letting them? Because they did eventually here, guys, after this was done and Elijah had completed through his hours, through the soup kitchen, through the garden, through other nonprofit organizations that they had worked for. His lady wife went to work after 5 days a week, 2 days a week. That's 7 days a week that woman worked. 7 days a week that woman worked to make sure her husband could get his final hours done, and wrote her 2 days for working for these nonprofit organizations down as well. And these people say they were missing. They could be, have you pinged their phones? Did you see if they left the property? They're not doing anything. They take their lunches. They can leave the property or they can stay in their car. It's a nonprofit. Elijah went there the first day. I know he called me something or whatever it was. Oh, they get 15-minute jobs or something. And he's trying to get his hours done by a certain date. And so he told the lady, hey, I need full-time work. I don't need these 15-minute break and all this. And he did get, I believe, a full day's work or something close, but there was all these 15-minute breaks or in between, and he'd stay. Remember, he was staying longer. He was going to the soup kitchen. There were days they put in more than a full day, and they've only given these guys, whatever, both because they worked, and it's not about them, but she should, by witness, her name was written down as well. How could they give him 25 hours and she at least worked 5 of those days with him and went to the other place, and he worked days on his own? I think he had something like 2 weeks down at the end there. He was trying to get Dan, and he had all these final hours or whatever. There's something like 50 hours or something like that he had to do. Their numbers. It was 30, it's 50, it's 80, it's 90, it's 98. They go back and forth and seesaw them. Well, there you go. You heard Crusher Brunsman say on October 5th of 2019 at 7:19 a.m., Elijah had 30 hours to complete. So they only did give him 25 after the 50. But guys, their numbers are criminal. They're all over the place. So no, remember Dan, I have record because we did, Elijah, we sent these to the attorney too about all these hours, and Elijah telling me that he were certain hours like, again, the ice storm and other hours where he was looking for, I think trying to get a hold of some of these people too because they were telling him to get his evidence himself too. So he was given these, I think Elijah lists them as like fluff hours, and he's not. You guys, okay, now watch this too. You want to see how criminal this is? So I know Elijah's already done 80 plus 133, or at least 100, because it says he owed 30, so 103, that's 283 hours. 83 hours that he's done right there. So she PVs him after doing 83 hours and puts him in jail for 3 days. Now, I have paperwork that says in the Oregon system, if they do something like this to them or something, they have to for every 8 hours, which is they consider them a day in confinement. That's a day that they give them 16 hours credit towards like their all these hours that they owe for community service because they're serving, in the system. They get a credit for each day of 16 hours. Now that would be what, 48 hours? If you added 48 and he didn't get any, they wouldn't even give him. I have paperwork and he's requested, and they say, "Oh, we're not giving you any credit. That's not part of the deal, Elijah. This isn't part of." No, that's what the paperwork says by the state that you're supposed to. And so Elijah's done way more. And then he did these 55, 130 or whatever, 55. See how these numbers just keep. I know that my son has done at least 300 hours, even by just pinging his phone. So, guys, I want to make this very clear. So, on their paperwork, it doesn't look like Elijah's done all these hours because they don't want to give him any credit for any of these back here, too. Okay? So, this is criminal. He's done at least 300 hours. I'm sure if they pinged his phone with these people he worked with back here, Don, Morgan, Tom, some of these other people, Travis, all these people witness. Elijah's obviously didn't get his first probation violation until month 42, 40. There's somewhere in there. 42, I believe, was where he was threatened. You got 3 months to get this done, which would have put more than 25. And she should have been at least 6 months. They went ahead and threw him in jail anyways. Instead of not making any phone calls, they threw him in jail where he didn't get his 16 credit hours for 1 day of being in confinement in jail, which is kidnapping. That's a lawsuit against Kresha Brunsman. That should remove her right there from her office of the head of probation. What she did to my son is kidnapping, and she is obviously enslaving people because she knows how to work these and massage these numbers because they're written down. But these numbers can't be massaged. You can't massage these numbers. You can't change these numbers in your system. These are the hard facts. These are witnesses that witnessed and worked with Elijah. These are digital. No, these are analog. And if we go the old school, you lost. And if you add any digital, you can add probably more hours to these too. So I'm certain my son is being wrongfully threatened of arrest by Lake County. And I've asked them to stand down. Now I need the media involved if you want to help. If not, I'm going to keep here and streaming, and eventually they will stand down. I'm not going to live my whole life like this. Eventually I will figure this out. God will prevail because it's him doing it, not me. But I'm hoping that there will be. This will get picked up. I've called some news stations today myself, so I have some more work to do. But this is happening to people all over the world. You understand? In other countries, but in America, this shouldn't be happening, correct? Things like this shouldn't happen. This is supposed to be a land of guilty until proven innocent. No, innocent until proven guilty. And now I have all the proof. So why would I surrender my son to Lake Orleans County and let him be in prison for 5 years? Why would I do that? Because that's all they're going to do. Oh, well, let's get him in front of a judge and we'll let the judge. You think a judge is going to look at this? Lake County's going to look at this and get this back deal like they do with everything out here and get this taken care of. Or the feds will pick it up here soon. Because I'm going to keep barking out here. And if they send men with guns, then they've committed another criminal act like they did yesterday by pulling over a gentleman that made sure that I had some ice and that I don't believe it has any record of any sort, and licensed, insured, totally legal vehicle, all lights where they pulled him out without reasonable articulable suspicion and not give him a reason for stop. So that is proof of targeting out here. And this is the case of Elijah Warner, starting with Tony Karsten. The numbers prove that Elijah Warner is innocent of these names of slander, how they made him feel like he's some kind of criminal and treated him. and his wife to be called a slut in a public forum by a police chief. We're still checking in. I'm trying to get, some more information on the potential lady who was raped. If that's a thing, or is that them under their IP address? There's a lot put out in this case, guys. Hundreds of hours of streaming. And so I don't know. Again, at this time, I'm in here day 15 held up against the county. The state of Oregon is driven by my property. I've contacted all these people now probably hundreds of times. I've requested this Michael Taylor to call me so he can get this straightened up with this. Why is there this corruption going on with what this case back here? But he's never once called me. I have video live stream on TikTok of 2 deputies showing up when I asked them, do not send deputies to my house. Either have him call me, do not waste the county's resources. And yet they still wasted. They're still having these people drive by my house daily. If they ping their phones, they've never come to this location like they have ever. This is targeting. And now they're targeting me. They've targeted a lady again called Tina, and I'll do another live stream. So I think I'm going to break that one down as an evidentiary stream. I don't think I've really missed anything. I think this does prove that Elijah should be immediately released from this wrongful arrest warrant, and he should be back at 18 months. If he just had $9,400 or $47, none of this would even be happening. So proof of criminal. Here's your criminal list. These are all the people that should be convicted of these crimes. John Caligo is the attorney over here, so let's not make sure we put him on that list. But please understand that I'm not doing this for me. I'm trying to expose this corruption, which I was told to do by my father by not partake in their unfruitful works of darkness. Remember, it says in the book of Psalms that it wasn't Edward Burke or whatever that his name was. I think that was his name. Darn it, how come I can't remember this guy's name back here? And maybe that wasn't exactly it, but that's close. But he took that from Psalms, that the only thing it takes for evil to flourish is for good men to stand around and do nothing. And so I'm not going to stand around. I'm not going to let this evil flourish. I will expose these wickedness and these powers who do these wicked things to people. And it's not about me. It's about what my father tells me I'm supposed to. It's my agape, it's my Hashem, it's my authority. It's what he tells me to do. They put holes in him and imprison him. If they want to imprison me over these numbers, this will be my case. They will have to put this in with the hundreds of hours and the thousands of hours that I've live streamed and things, again, as I've requested the Sheriff Michael Taylor to come see me via live stream. Tom reporting a murder. We watched your live streams, Tracy. B. Birch, Sam, they called my son. Oh, your dad said you kidnapped you out there on the live stream. So they're watching it, and yet they do nothing. So it's not my lack of effort, or it's not even about me. It's about a bigger picture here, brothers and sisters, that's unveiling itself, that this is just but one story. And I'm going to do more here about the case of Angela and Christy, who's been targeted, and a separate case, a separate stream I'll do as well for evidentiary purpose for their case. And Tina, the lady who was targeted out here, who found cash and was arrested 6 months later, who did everything under the Oregon statutes, ORS 008, or let's do it for ORS 005 and 98005 and ORS 98015. Did everything according to the law and then was still arrested. So she was targeted because she's quite verbal out here. So they do target people out in this farming community, and the farmers have done it. They've been known to go after people. They're heavy-handed with guns, and so are the cops out here. A bunch of thugs, gang members. The definition of a gang when I was in law enforcement was a heavily armed group of thugs. Road raiders, road pirates, if you will. But anyways, a heavy armed group going around, you could call them thugs, if you will, all wearing the same color, thin blue line, harassing and extorting the general public. Say they would technically be a gang when I was in law enforcement, but things were changed. I couldn't search a woman. I had to call for a backup officer. Times have changed. So, but the law and the numbers can't be changed. They can't be twisted. They can't be perverted. You can't run from this Lake County. Please call and let's stand. You stand down, and let's speak of a peaceful, not revolution. You'll eventually bring your guns in here and martyr me, I guess. I'm not going anywhere. So This is the property I bought. I've never bought property anywhere in the world, so not going to shit in my backyard. Apologize for the people who are watching this. I think this is in a grand jury, or there's no children involved in this. So I don't know if they've ever done anything with children out here. Interesting, but in this case, where it's just about the numbers, and I apologize for the few cursings, but it is an evidentiary stream that's documenting the evidence of the convicted rapist Tony Karsten that really starts all this trail of crooked probation, corruption, and targeting of community members within Lake County, and the corruption over here in Lane County too, with Kresha Brunsman and the system with Ryan Solberg and all these other Dan Bud and all these other people who have allowed Elijah to be put through this hell that he's gone through. So hopefully again, this will get cleared up soon, and we need some normalcy. So told I was doing it over a little bit, but hopefully this is overdoing it more. But all right, that's this stream evidentiary. Hopefully by this time they'll have already stood down, and this will just be part of history, guys. And God will step in and prevail, and it won't be about so much again about me or Elijah, or it'll be the bigger thing that this truly is exposing the system. And hopefully the feds will look at this or something, some other agency, or I know God's watching. That's the judgment that I am considering more than all. So thank you for letting reveal these truths to you. You know what I'm saying? This is what I do. Revelation. That's exposing and lifting the veil to expose, what's the lies that are covering the truth. Apocalypse means to lift the cover, remove the veil. Revelation. So that's what I say. I'm not Tracy Werner, capital letter, WERNERTRACY in capital letters. That's not me. I'm a man of land and soil, and I'm Apocalypse. That's what I've just brought you by numbers, the truth. I am Revelation. Whoa.